Well, this video has been a long time coming. We are finally back at the Hypogeum. I must have made that video about 8 years ago now. It's the only video that I produced on it, and it turns out that there's actually 3 levels to the site. The lowest level goes down to 10.6 meters, 26 to 33 feet deep to the lowest level. My main argument in that video is that I suggested that it was a site that had been covered over in the flood, right? I couldn't see how something so advanced, especially with all the fingerprints to looking like that it had been constructed, and at the time I only had a few images to work with back then. I've got some absolutely stunning images here that will leave you in no doubt actually, and some that even show girders, oxidization. And how would all this come about? Well, it's mineralization and oxidization, right? So all this has been put together with various pieces, and suggest, like, if you look over the little niches, the wall at the back is only, we can see it over on the right hand side, okay, but the actual niche pieces are only about no more than half a foot thick, and they're perfectly thick, every single niche all the way around. And then you look at the floors, the floor level runs all the way through to every single room, and it's the perfect thickness all the way through, right? The floor that you're looking at there at the bottom of the image is a false floor. It's where it's just run off. It's solidified material that's ran out of the walls and come from above, and it's just set hard on the floor. So there's a lot more buried to this, but if you look at that area there, you know, it looks like that someone's just put a piece of rock in there, right? But they haven't. It's just that it's crumbled away around it. That's what it was built out of, and it turns into what you're seeing there in the same way that sites like Mother Shipton's Cave do, through mineralization and calcifying from the high mineral content that's within the rock, running down the wall over the items that the public have been placing on the wall, turning it into rock. Now, there is a bit of a problem with a site like I'm showing here, because really it has to be in sunlight, so it can only be so deep for something to calcify under the ocean. You know, like we've all seen the Titanic pictures, and they say that it's going to last about 60 years because it's 2 miles on the ocean floor and there's no sunlight reaching it, so it's just rusting away. You see it oxidizing. So whether or not water within a cavity like this, even with the high mineral content in the walls, would calcify over, I'm not sure, but it's just something worth keeping in mind. But there's no doubt that this thing was put together in pieces. It's just whether or not those pieces have since turned into the material that we're seeing now. But I will be showing you where they've been fixed to the wall. And the things are just scattered all over the floor to this day. So you've got your 2 choices. Either it's turned into what we're seeing now from it being completely buried over and then mineralizing, or they indeed did, like they tell you if you go research this site, how they were meant to have cut out a cliffside and shaped this thing as they were going. Yeah, so it's rock cut completely, but it's clearly not, because I'm proving it right now. So your choices are that this thing were covered over, or they dug out the site out of the cliffside, because it is relatively soft, so you could do it, but then they used other pieces to shore it up. You know, what I'm showing here, they're scattered everywhere, but that wouldn't make sense because you would have to make the site secure. I'm just not feeling that 2-inch thick pieces and showing up a wide open space like this with soft material which was removed from this site would do the job, so it just doesn't make sense. Like I say, I feel like it's been covered over. There's a lot more buried here. Something else I've noticed, if you look at the central pillar, you will see what appears to be just endless amounts of dints in it. Archaeology would tell you that's where they have carved this site out, reckoning that they've carved it out of the rock itself. It's not. It just reminds me of binder, like straw, something. It could be a few things, yeah, but it's the imprints of where it's rotted away within the mixture that they've made. Anyway, this is one of the main images, and this is the girder that I was speaking about. Now, I'm pretty sure that most of you have seen girders like this before, where you get these square holes all the way down that are joined across the entire I-beams to make it stronger. You can even see oxidization on this thing, so I've got absolutely no doubt this was indeed a metal iron girder. And just like any site we built today, you've got multiple different materials and methods that you're building with. You're not just building it out of one thing, yeah, like they want you to believe, like just cut rock, which is just ridiculous. But this is one of the best images in this video, that's for sure. I want you to take into account all the pot marking that's everywhere. If you look across this image, you can see it looks like water's just been running down, seeping out of the wall as this thing were drying out. It's not from where it's being carved, but if you look at the bottom of the image, because this thing looks like part of a machine or something, I don't know what it was, it just looks technical, that's all, but directly under it, I'll circle it, there's, I don't know if they're imprints of pieces that fell off this thing or it's embedded in the rock itself. It's just interesting, that's all. And when you look closely at this cog shaped imprint here, there's actually a square hole indented in its center as if something slotted in there and then spun round on its base. But this circular thing here looks like the remnants of underground tunneling. You know how they separate sections off every 10 feet or so? They'll brace it off to shore it up with something steel, iron. That's what this looks like. That's the best way I can explain it. Anyway, thank you to those that do donate or leave a super thanks if you want your name up in lights, you like my work, you've never donated before. In the 8 years I've been doing this, then there'll be a link in a pinned comment, or you can hit the super thanks if you like more of this work, this format.